coming to the party, so to speak. Look at these race cars. Don't they look absolutely beautiful? Lots of time, energy, money, funding has gone into presenting all of these cars. And what a great job each of these teams do. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen, down the end of the back straight. Who do you think that is? Clowns and all. What do you reckon, kids? Lightning McQueen. Otherwise known as Dan Corrin, of course, and that beautiful car there, the Lightning McQueen car, being followed very, very closely by a couple of clowns. So Barry has made his way down there onto the infield and will be underway very, very shortly. We've got some visiting drivers here tonight in one or two classes. You can see there are a couple of Hawke's Bay cars that have turned up here tonight as well. I'll have some details of those drivers and cars to you shortly. One of them there, the 29 car on the outside of the front row. On the second row, look at these guys, 2 and 3 in the country. Steve Cowling on the inside on the Tauranga ITM sponsored Corvette, and on the outside of him, the 3NZ car of Brent McClymont. Coming around 3 and 4 for the rolling start. They'll floor it very, very soon. Let's get them underway, folks. So track conditions just a little bit slippery at this early stage of the evening, of course. Down the back straight, directly into the sun, of course. That's not an easy thing to do. Flying blind. Looks like Lightning McQueen right out by the wall there, loses a spot. But back up front, it is Michelle Weimer, the lady in the race, showing the way. As I said, slippery conditions, a little bit wet at the beginning of a night, always makes for a slippery old time for all of the competitors. Oh, a bit of a coming together there on the exit of turn 2. McClymont trying to manhandle the 3NZ car around turn 4 and down onto the front chute here. The 2NZ of Steve Cowling currently running in second spot and a good 100 metres or so back from Michelle Weimer. It is Weimer from Cowling, then it's back to McClymont, then it's back to Chris Cowling in the 272 car. Martin, Corrin and Christensen. Brett Kay right there as well in that beautiful 14 car. No doubt about our leader though at this stage, Michelle Weimer. An 18.2622 on lap 5 for Michelle. In fact, make that a 17.9564 on lap 6 from Michelle. So as you would expect, the track just starting to dry out ever so slowly, and the lap times just starting to creep up or down a little, I should say. Here she comes again to rattle off another lap. Let's see if she was even quicker this time. Nope. So the 12-lap Saloon car race, the first of the night. We've got 7 or 8 laps under the hood already. Fastest lap, a 17.8165 from Michelle. Weimer, Cowling, McClymont, another Cowling, Chris. Then it's Dan Corrin, of course, in the Lightning McQueen car. Two-thirds of the way through this first heat of the night for the Saloons. The speeds just starting to come up a little notch now, if you like, with each of these cars. The track conditions just slowly coming to each of the drivers. Dan Corrin absolutely chucking that Lightning McQueen car into turn 1 back there. Weimer still ahead by a big distance. The 2NZ car of Steve Cowling just starting to make up a little bit of ground now, visibly you can see there. Onto their last lap, the white flag has been out. Here comes the checkered flag for Michelle Weimer. So just as the engine revs start coming down a little, for those of you in that 92 car, I'll get a Christian name for you soon, I just have to. On the third row, we've got, of course, Lightning McQueen, Dan Corrin out there in that beautiful 95 car.
We've got Kevin Martin in the 92B, Steve Martin in the 29B.
Beautiful, thanks mate. So Kevin. Okay, let's get this thing, whoa! A bit of contact between McClymont and Toenails, Tony Christensen there at the very start of that, but they've come out of it unscathed. So the track just a little bit slippery at the very start of this second Saloon race because we've had to put a bit of water on there just to dampen things down. It'll go within a couple of laps, it'll be back to a fast track again, I can tell you. So at this stage, it is Brett Kay from Chris Taylor. Then it's back to Dan Corrin in the Lightning McQueen car. Then it's back to the 272 of Chris Cowling.
See, Toenails and Brent McClymont came together again up in turns 3 and 4 after the start-finish line. So bit of a personal battle going on back in the field there between the 6 and the 3NZ.
Yeah, I think there might be a magnet stuck between those two guys. I'm not quite sure what's going on. But look at this though, back up front, a fight going on for a second, third and fourth with Chris Cowling in that 272 car looking for a way past his stablemate, of course, there, the 95, Dan Corrin. Chris Taylor doing a superb job in that second spot there in the Ford, the Hydrolink Ford, of course. But look at this, Brett Kay. He's out of there. He's a good 60 or 70 metres ahead now. Let's see whether that changes over the next few laps with the track starting to dry out just a little. It's Brett Kay from Chris Taylor. Corrin, Cowling, Manor, Martin and Steve Cowling in the 2NZ car running in 7th. So a good battle going on for second spot. It's been going on all race long. Taylor having to fend off Corrin. Corrin gets up the inside there. And if he didn't feed him a right rear, it must have been pretty close to it, I would say. Taylor, though, holding that position. Not for long, though, because Dan Corrin, Lightning McQueen, gets it on and up into second place. Now it's Taylor back in third. Here comes a look up the inside now from Chris Cowling looking for that third spot. Takes to the inside to see if he can get up the inside of the Ford, and he does. Taylor still there on the outside, but just backing out ever so slightly there to get the job done. Brett Kay, Dan Corrin, Chris Cowling, Chris Taylor, Steve Cowling, Brent McClymont up into 6th. So McClymont now trying to get around the 2NZ car of Steve Cowling. That's a good battle. Just entering the back straight now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Look at this dice going on. Brent McClymont, the 3NZ car, trying to get up and alongside the 2NZ car of Steve Cowling. A good battle on going on the back straight. Look at this, a lapped car just getting in between our 3 front runners, Dan Corrin, Brett Kay, Chris Cowling. And it is Brett Kay who has found his way across the line in the lead yet again. He's still got a couple of laps left to run, so it's down to whether Dan Corrin can get the job done in the next lap and a half. Chris Cowling still running in third spot. Chris Taylor in 4th position. The white flag is out. It is 1 lap left to run now for Brett Kay. Brett Kay under all sorts of pressure now. Down the back straight, they go into turn 3 for the last time. Brett Kay, oh, they're both getting a bit of out of shape there. It looks like Dan Corrin is going to take it. In fact, he does. Dan Corrin and Brett Kay coming over the line in 1st and 2nd spot. Oh boy, was ahead by 1 car length as they crossed the line. So give it up for Lightning as he comes around. A bit of a favourite with all the youngsters in the audience, I'm sure. Dan Corrin, a youngster out of Gisborne. I think I'm right in saying out of Gisborne, Barry, I think, young Dan Corrin?
Yeah, certainly is, and features on the front cover of the program in the middle of the 3 cars. So yeah, we had 3 identical Tauranga ITM cars last Saturday night. So Dan Corrin's car being reclosed, I guess, as it were, and yeah, it actually got the lead a couple of laps earlier too, and making a move down the outside of one of the Hawke's Bay cars, got squeezed into the wall. Actually, I think briefly even dropped back to 3rd, then back to 1st again. So
yeah, that was an exciting one, all right. There was also a good fight going on further back in the field between McClymont and another of the Cowlings. So there were a couple of good dog fights going on throughout that race. But there he is, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Lightning McQueen, of course. Good to be able to just slap a complete new fiberglass body on board for tonight, Barry.
Oh, certainly excellent, isn't it?
Front row. Over the years, they would probably rate as the 2 who like to beat each other the most. It's unbelievable how many times McClymont and Michelle Weimer have been side by side, you know, at the important times of the season, of the races. In fact, you know, there's nothing for these 2 to be absolutely joined at the hip, coming out of turn 4 on the last lap, gunning it down the straightaway for the big checkered flag. So let's see what's going to happen here tonight. They've qualified 1 and 2, and Michelle Weimer, even though she's on the outside of the racetrack for the start of this race, I can guarantee you she will not want to be going into turn 1 behind one of the boys. That's all there is to it. So you girls in the audience, you ladies in the audience, I'm sure you're going to be all rooting for Michelle Weimer in this one, the big feature race of the night for the Saloons. Let's give it up for Michelle Weimer. Come on, you ladies, let's hear you. Absolutely. That's what it's all about. It's guy versus gal in the Saloon car feature here at the mighty Baypark Speedway. They're about to cut them loose, folks. Who is going to take the feature race here tonight for the Saloons? We're about to find out. Here we go. Look at Michelle. Exactly as I said, Michelle straight into the lead. Just puts the foot down, the right foot in that Dalton's car, and she's gone. Now it's up to the rest of the guys there to try and, first of all, keep up with her. And at some point, they're going to have to try and get by her. So there we go, the end of lap 1, and it was Michelle Weimer from Brent McClymont. No, make that the 272 of Chris Cowling, who slides up the inside there on turn 2 and jumps into 2nd spot. Of course, Steve Cowling, the current 2NZ, he's right there as well, right behind his brother, running in 3rd position. McClymont now back into 4th, and then it's Dan Corrin, I beg your pardon, Dan Corrin running there in the 95 car, who manages to get by McClymont as well. So McClymont not having it all his way tonight in the feature, currently running in 5th position. Michelle Weimer now under pressure, big time from Chris Cowling. Weimer out wide, Cowling tries the inside line. Down the front chute, side by side, Michelle Weimer, courageous. Takes the Dalton's car right out to the wall, leaves it out by the wall. Man, oh man, has she got some courage, that lady. Meanwhile, the boys are jumping all over the place. Weimer now about to be rounded up by a 2nd Cowling car. And it's Steve Cowling who gets the job done as well. He's up in the 2nd spot now. Michelle Weimer has gone from 1st back into 3rd in 1 lap. Now it's up to Lightning McQueen to see if he can get the job done as well. So Michelle Weimer, running in 3rd, has had both the Cowling boys drive by. And now it's almost looks as though the 3rd car from that stable is going to have a crack at Michelle as well. Let's see how Michelle covers this one. Further back in the field, a couple of good dices going on. We've got Brett Kay and Chris Taylor there running for 5th position, having a good side-by-side battle as well. Back to these first 4 though. It's starting to close up now, these first 4. Michelle Weimer with a big job on her hands trying to fend off the Lightning McQueen car. Meanwhile, it's the Cowling brothers up front, running 1 and 2. Chris and Steve. Oh, they're side by side as they go into turn 1. Steve Cowling still running behind brother Chris Cowling, of course. So it's now the job for these two boys not to get into each other and get spun up or turn the other one around. Michelle Weimer still right there in third place. We're 10 laps in. 10 laps in. And it's a big, long race too, folks. This is like an 18-lap race. So we're only just over halfway through this feature race for Saloons. The first 4 positions don't look like changing in a hurry. And as I say that, Dan Corrin gets down low. Weimer up high on the racetrack. Let's see how this one turns out as they come out onto the front straight. Looks as though Corrin has got the job done. So Michelle having to settle for 4th at this stage. Anything can happen though. We've still got 4 laps left to run. Make that 6 laps left to run. It's Cowling from Cowling. Then it's back to Corrin, Weimer, Taylor, Kay, Martin and Manor. Those are your top 8. For our leading cars right now, it's Chris Cowling, in fact, who's leading the way. He'll be looking in his rear vision mirror and seeing the big brother right behind him. Come on, where's that white flag? Where's that white flag? That's what Chris Cowling's going to be looking for. Sometime soon, in fact, no, still a few laps to go yet before he's going to see the white flag. Tony Toenails Christensen there just having a good view of 2 Cowling boys flying past at a great rate of knots. Here comes the 3rd car of the stable, Dan Corrin. He gets by as well. Here comes Michelle Weimer. They're on to lap number 15 of 18. 2 full laps left to run after this one. Cowling, Corrin, Weimer, Taylor, Kay. Top 6. It's not done and dusted yet though, folks. They're up into some lap traffic now. This could make things very, very interesting with the white flag showing. Chris Cowling with Steve Cowling right there ready to jump, right ready to pounce. In fact, what am I saying? Steve Cowling's gone by in front. Chris Cowling now back to 2nd. White flag, check, good flag for Steve Cowling in the 2NZ car. Brother Chris coming home in a fine 2nd position. But there we are, Michelle Weimer. We were talking her up prior to the start of the race. She was starting from the outside of the front row, and both the Cowling boys got by her after around about...
Well, once he worked his way past Michelle Weimer, and that looked like he was going to get one over Steve after Steve won the feature last week, but yeah, just over a lap from home and tail end traffic there, coming off turn 4, snuck through and just had to hold him out for another lap, but... Yeah, Chris will just be, I guess, ruined going that little bit wide, but he had to make his way through the tail end traffic and...
Break there if you want to. It's short.